What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are putting on this rear spoiler on the Civic and the Type R style rear lip. So those will go on the back end of the Civic obviously. Now the spoiler comes with this brake light, goes in here. So that should be pretty nice. Only problem is they haven't got the holes drilled for the wires, so we're gonna have to drill a hole there for that. And the most difficult part of this is going to be snaking the wires from there all the way out to this hole here. The spoiler didn't actually come with gaskets, so I made some of these out of neoprene. If you're wondering what I used this self-adhesive seal roll. It's just neoprene with double-sided tape on the bottom. Pretty easy to do. This is like $20 from Bunnings. Pretty easy to get. I've already made the gaskets, obviously. I did them on both sides. It's pretty simple to do. All you got to do is just tape it up with some masking tape, cut out around the edges there, and just get a hole punch and just punch out the holes for it. And then just stick it on. Very, very simple. I didn't really think I needed to film me doing it. So I just used this tape here. I just laid out strips until it covered the whole thing. Got a Stanley knife, cut it out, and then laid the tape on top of the neoprene here and then just cut it out with scissors. It's very, very simple. If you guys want to see how I did it, comment below and I will take the spoiler off again and just show you guys how to do it. I think you guys can figure it out. And apart from that, to do the spoiler, we have to drill some holes in the boot, obviously. The Civic has these little indents here where the factory spoiler would go. So I've just marked out a couple little dots here where to drill. Same on the other side. Basically, as long as you get these spots here, it should be fine. Other thing I have to do is drill a hole in the top here somewhere for the brake light wiring to go. We're gonna do the spoiler last because that's gonna be the hardest one to do. So we'll get into putting the lower lip on. So what we've got to do is pull the rear bumper off, which is pretty simple. Just a bunch of clips like the front bar and a screw there, one on the end there. You don't have to pull anything off. You shouldn't even need to get the wheels off because you should be able to fit a screwdriver up there. And there's also a couple of these clips on the bottom. Should be pretty simple, hopefully. But if you want to see how I did the Type R front lip and grille, click the link up above, up here somewhere, and have a look how I did those. So obviously it's got the black lip, black side skirts, and now it'll have the rear black lip and the spoiler. Now all of this stuff will be getting painted eventually to match the car. I'm gonna spoiler alert this a little bit, but the whole car is getting a full respray. I've already bought a new front end, so I've got a new bumper, a new bonnet, new headlights. I got new quarter panels coming because all of these are pretty much stuffed, so they're all getting done. The dents are all getting pressed out and going for a full respray in the next few months. So the car will look pretty good after that. So all this stuff is getting painted body color along with the side skirts and that little black strip there. That's all getting done body color. It'll look much nicer. But for now, I'm just gonna put these on as they are. But yeah, I'm going to take the rear bumper off and we'll try and fit this rear lip. Should be pretty simple. I've already test fitted it a little bit. It's a bit tight, but I'm pretty sure we'll make it work. All right, let's get into it. All right, now with the bumper off, we can clean up all this stuff and try and fit the rear lip. Now, like with the front bumper, you don't have to clean this if you don't want to. It's not really necessary unless you're going to be using double-sided tape. If you're going to be using double-sided tape, I would suggest cleaning the whole thing down and then using some wax and grease remover before you fit it. I'm not putting tape on this yet because this is all getting painted. So once it's painted, then it will be getting tape and a gasket and all that good stuff. So for now, I'm just cleaning it so it's clean, not for really any other reason other than that. That's clean enough. Now we'll see if this thing fits. Like this should be for a coupe, because I did buy it because it said sedan and coupe, but for some reason it's just not quite fitting very well. Yeah, I might have to screw it in on one end and then just sort of just force it over. We'll make it work. Now it comes with all the hardware necessary. Yeah, this is a lot more difficult than I anticipated just because it doesn't quite reach. It's a little bit too short for this bumper. Now maybe this is for a hatch. I did order it for a sedan or coupe. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is for a hatch. Maybe they sent me the wrong one, but it doesn't quite fit. That's okay, we will make it work. All right, so if we can get just this side, just one side sort of in the right area, we should be able to get the rest of it done. So if I can just get this section in the right spot, just eyeball it, make sure it's relatively straight. I reckon if I put a screw in that section there, that should help. Now remember, if you're not sure on any of this stuff, take it to a professional, like I probably should, because I am not a professional. So only copy me if you really, really want to, because I am not a professional. So just remember that. And remember, if you want a perfect fitment, just get genuine Honda Type R stuff, because this stuff's always going to need to be just slightly modified to make work. Get some magnetic bits too, like this is just so difficult to work with. I'm going to try and just tap this in. If you've got two people, this is so much easier. So don't be like me, get some friends. So I've just tapped that into the bumper. Now hopefully I can do roughly the same on the other side. Look how much shorter it is. That's a hell of a lot shorter. But if I can tap this in as well, roughly the same spot, I reckon I can pull it all in and make it work. Seems about the same spot. All right, now with that like that, we should be able to turn this over like this and just fold all this up onto it. In theory, that should work. It's gonna need some persuasion, but we'll make it work. Okay, so now that those are tapped in place, we can just fold this up, get it roughly in the right position. We can push it up further later on. I'm pretty sure we can do that with these little tabs. So the next step is to get these in place, I believe. What I think we'll do is we'll get these tabs sorted out, because they sort of fold in and then pull this whole thing up, hopefully. So we might sort those out, and then hopefully that'll bring this whole thing up, and then we can do these middle sections here. All right, so now we're gonna need a 6mm drill bit, drill a hole, dab in the middle, and drill a hole in the bumper. Now remember, I'm just guessing all this stuff. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we can always drill more holes, that's why I'm doing it to this bumper. Doesn't matter what happens to this, because I'll probably get a new one, and then the new one will get painted. So now we get these long bolts. Put one in there. One in the hole in the bumper. And just hopefully I put it in the correct spot. Now we do the same to the other side. Getting closer. Now we just drill the holes for the center ones. Put the bolts through. Now if you're doing this to a bumper you're actually going to keep, make sure to actually measure everything before you do all of this stuff. Because I'm not keeping this bumper, I'm just using it as a template to do all this stuff. So if I'm slightly off, then when I get the new bumper, I can mark out all the holes correctly and do it all properly. It's actually looking quite good. Now I think the only thing that might be slightly off is the ends here. That just needs to be dropped a bit, but yeah, as you can see, this has actually broken it. It's not ideal. Not much I can do about it. It does suck that it's broken a bit, but at the same time, this is relatively cheap, probably not even $200, probably about another $160 like the front one, something like that. But I will put a link in the description for these if you do want them. And we're done. Just got to put the bumper back on the car and hopefully it clears the exhaust, because that is another problem I think we'll face, but that's okay. We'll see what happens. Another thing that I'm going to do, so these bumpers tend to have a bit of a fitment gap there. So what I'm going to do is just tap this up with a rubber mallet and hopefully that'll bring the fitment a bit closer. All right, so there we are. It's on the car. Now it's not perfect. The exhaust sort of sits on it. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to drop the exhaust or just cut it back a bit, which I'll probably just angle grind it back a bit because it is getting a new exhaust eventually, or I might get a tip on it. So for now, it'll do. I'll cut that exhaust bit off and we'll leave it at that. Now to do the spoiler, which I might have to do tomorrow. So GoPro battery's getting dead and I'm almost out of SD cards. So I'll see you guys tomorrow when I do the spoiler. See you then.